months. An MS attack can occur in any part of the brain or spinal cord. If you ask me, could MS cause blank? The answer is yes, because the brain controls all the stuff we do. So it actually is a rough question. And most commonly, we see attacks that impact the nerves that run the eyes. And so the nerve that runs the eye receives light that goes in the back of the brain and translates it in the computer to tell you what you're looking at. And if you have inflammation of the nerve that runs the eye, you can't get the light back there. And the result is you can't see very well. And by the way, as that nerve gets swollen and you move your eye around, it hurts like the dickens, doesn't it? What am I talking about? I'm talking about optic neuritis. Ever heard of optic neuritis? Yeah, many of you may have. And so optic neuritis is a very common attack presentation. What's another common attack presentation? Transverse myelitis. Now, that's a doctor word, isn't it? Myelo is a different language called Greek, which means cord, myelo. Itis means inflammation, like bursitis or bronchitis. So myelitis is when you have inflammation of the spinal cord. That's the superhighway. Transverse means it affects both sides, doesn't have to be equal, and typically presents when the down theres don't work. You're familiar with the down theres. Bowel, bladder, sexual function, leg function, feeling, motor function of the legs. And someone can wake up and their feet are really weirdly numb. And over the next day or two, it kind of creeps up their leg and they have a little trouble controlling their bladder. That's called transverse myelitis. Transverse myelitis is the second common presentation of an MS attack, a flare, an exacerbation, a relapse. The third most common presentation of an MS attack is brainstem function. All the stuff in your face is run by your brain, and actually the base of your brain, called the brain stem. You have all these nerves that control the eyes going up and down and moving left and right, and speaking and swallowing and sensation of the face and all that other kind of stuff. Even your sense of balance, it's all controlled there. And the third most common presentation of MS attack is a brainstem syndrome. Now, there are a myriad of other things that can present with an MS attack. And it strikes me that we don't always know as the human being what's what. I'll make a point. Please get into your wallet or your purse and pull out your body handbook. Get it out real quick. I need to look at page 27. Get out your body handbook. Nobody's reaching in their purse. You know why? Because we're not born with a body handbook, right? We don't have a manual on page 37 that says here's how the brain works, and if this thing happens, it's an attack. We don't have that information. We live our lives prospectively going forward minute by minute as we experience life. And when you wake up in the morning and you can't feel your leg, did you sleep on it funny? Did you bust a blood vessel? Did you break it last night? Do you have an MS attack? You don't know. All you know is, gosh darn it, you can't feel your leg. And so I want to teach you the 24-hour rule, right? The 24-hour rule, which would be in the handbook on page 37 if I had one, is that MS attacks last longer than a day. Why do I share that with you? Because any rational human being who is given a chronic diagnosis, doesn't matter the diagnosis, could be cancer, God forbid, could be diabetes, could be rheumatoid arthritis, could be MS. If a rational human being is given a chronic diagnosis and their nose itches, they're going to ask a rational question. Is the itchy nose related to that condition that I was just told I have, right? That is a normal human being response. And if you don't know the 24-hour rule, it might drive you bonkers. And so I want you to ask the question. I woke up, my nose is itching. I want you to say to yourself, hey self, how long has it gone on for? And if the answer is less than 24 hours, I'm not as worried about it. If it's gone on longer than 24 hours, I want you to phone a friend. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about calling your clinician. Now, I chose those words carefully, all right? Because I need you to be seen by a human being if you have a new neurological symptom lasting longer than 24 hours. Because you don't have the tools to sort out if the symptom that you're dealing with is an attack or something else. And let me explain what I mean. One of the common phenomena in MS is that people are at risk of getting urinary tract infections, which is a bummer.